What's up, fellow internet denizens? Happy Halloween, Samhain, Dia de las Muertas, and any other spoopy holiday that you might be celebrating. Today, I'd like to tell you guys some pumpkin-related stories and fun facts, because why not? It's fall and I like pumpkins.
Spooky, ooky, pumpkin, he orange round old boy.
Now, the word pumpkin comes from the Middle French word pompon, which means melon, and that comes from the Greek word peptine, to ripen, and then that word traces its origins to the Proto-Indo-European word pequons. Why am I bringing this up? Well, this is interesting to me because pumpkins are not native to anywhere with an Indo-European speaking population. They are from the Americas. Some native words for pumpkin include macaquer in Algonquin, kunu hakikosni in Caddo, iya in Cherokee, and ascuda squash in Wampanoag, from which we actually derive our word squash. Anyone in my audience who speaks these languages, please feel free to correct my pronunciation. Anyway, English actually got the word pumpkin just before the Pilgrims came over to Massachusetts. I guess the word just stuck when they encountered these giant orange melon things. Now, jack-o'-lanterns are a ubiquitous Halloween tradition. If it's Halloween, no matter where you are bound to find a lot of grinning carved pumpkins. Why do we do this? Well, a long time ago in Ireland, an old blacksmith named Stingy Jack invited the devil to drink at his local bar, but refused to pay. Then he said to the devil, "Why don't you turn into a coin so you can pay?" So the devil obliges, and Jack puts the devil into his pocket and dashes. There is also a silver crucifix in Jack's pocket, adding insult to injury and making the devil unable to turn back into himself. Jack promises to set the devil free, only if the devil promises to leave him alone in life and death. So the devil agrees. Later on, Jack meets a kindly old man and helps him cross the road, no doubt planning on using him for drinks. The old man reveals himself to be an angel and tells Jack that he will grant him 3 wishes. So Jack wishes that 1, anyone who isn't him that sits on his furniture will be stuck there forever or until he says otherwise. 2, anyone who isn't him who takes a branch from his tree will be stuck there forever or until he says otherwise. And 3, anyone who asks to borrow his tools will be, you guessed it, stuck there forever or until he says otherwise. The angel grants these and makes a mental note that Jack is a prick who makes bad wishes and probably shouldn't be let into the pearly gates. Then the devil comes back to mess with Stingy Jack and gets stuck in a tree, kind of like in the tale of Tia Miseria, before Jack lets him off and the devil decides he wants nothing to do with him for realsies this time. So after a while, Stingy Jack dies and St. Peter doesn't let him into heaven because of a combination of his mean-spirited wishes and his dining and dashing. And the devil, true to his word, won't have anything to do with Jack, so now Jack just wanders the earth alone. However, after a bit, the devil takes a little pity on Jack and gives him a turnip and some coal to light his way as he wanders through the bogs and fens of Ireland. Now, whenever Samhain would be celebrated, Irish folk would carve a turnip into an unnerving face and light the insides up with coal in order to protect themselves from this dickbag. And once people migrated to the Americas, they used something that was easier to carve and far more available there: pumpkins. But wait, where does Stingy Jack's story come from? Every story is inspired by something, right? Well, let's talk about something else from the bogs of Ireland, something else with an unnecessary amount of dashes in its name: will-o'-the-wisps. Will-o'-the-wisps, also known as Ignis fatuus, are small balls of dull light that come out of the ground in certain marshes. They aren't actually exclusive to the fens and bogs of Ireland, they are anywhere that's particularly marshy. According to the Smithsonian, until recently, most scientists thought that the lights were caused by gases released by decaying organic matter, but they didn't really know what caused it to light up like that. A new study published this year suggests that will-o'-the-wisps might be water bubbles filled with methane, likely coming from the aforementioned decaying organic matter, which could ignite by shocking each other as they pass with a phenomenon known as micro-lightning, as water carries a charge. We still don't know this definitively. Another explanation that some scientists have been tossing around is that since we don't see will-o'-the-wisps so much in modern times, these lights might have been caused by open flames, like in lanterns and torches. Now, for people who don't know about micro-lightning or corpse gases, which is most people, will-o'-the-wisps probably seem like something magical or perhaps ethereal. These lights inspired lots of mythical creatures like the Abenaki Asquith Daid, the Brazilian Mboitata, the Japanese Kitsunebi, and the Irish Stingy Jack. So, in honor of this swamp-lurking, turnip-carrying immortal, I have decided to carve my jack-o'-lantern this year in the shape of a turnip. Speaking of large edible plants, the Balkans have their own creepy stories about thick fruit. Tatomir Vukanovic, I think I got that right, was a traveling journalist who wandered the Balkans between 1933 and 1948, documenting whatever lore he would come across. He wrote that the Romani from Kosovo believed that if you keep a pumpkin or watermelon around for 10 or more days, they will start to shake and make purring noises. Then they start to bleed. And if you don't get rid of them at that point, which you probably should, they will start rolling around your house and annoying the inhabitants. However, they don't really have teeth or do any damage, so people aren't particularly worried. They're also just the right size and shape to be drop-kicked if they start causing any real trouble. Now, when they turn varies from village to village. Some say they only turn if you keep them past Christmas, while others say that they turn if you keep them on a full moon. Now, how do the Romani take care of these malicious melons? Well, you need to pick up the fruit when its guard is down, toss it in a stock pot, and boil it. Then, if that doesn't work, you pour out the water, scrub the pumpkin or watermelon down with a broom, and if that doesn't work, just throw it out. As with Stingy Jack, this monster was inspired by a natural phenomenon. You see, when you leave a melon out for too long, the juices inside start to seep out, looking like, you guessed it, blood. Creatures like this have appeared a few times in fantasy media since Vukanovic first described them. Terry Pratchett briefly mentions them in Carpe Jugulum, for instance. Also, does anyone remember that Halloween special where a bunch of alien goo caused pumpkins to sprout fangs and wreak havoc, and then the monsters from Monsters vs. Aliens had to fight them? I swear I did not hallucinate that. I think this Halloween special was rooted, haha, in the vampire melons and pumpkins from the Balkans. You know, now that I think of it, maybe teenagers didn't steal the pumpkins from my garden when I was a kid. Maybe they just rolled away and are still wreaking mild havoc in suburban Los Angeles to this day. Finally, let's head back to the British Isles to talk about something I was always kind of confused about as a kid. Everyone's heard of the old nursery rhyme, Peter Peter Pumpkin Eater had a wife and couldn't keep her. He put her in a pumpkin shell and there he kept her very well. I never understood it, as one, the average woman would not be able to comfortably fit inside a pumpkin even if it's one of the prize-winning giant ones. And two, if you don't want your wife, why would you put her inside of a giant gooey fruit? Well, the original nursery rhyme is far worse. The oldest form I could find is a Scottish nursery rhyme that goes thusly. Peter, my neeper, had a wife and couldn't keep her. He pats her eye the way and let the mice eat her. I apologize to any Scottish person who watches my channel. Basically, I think the speaker's neighbor, Peter, sees that his relationship is unsalvageable and feeds his wife to rodents. There's another alternative version that goes like, Eeper Weeper Chimney Sweeper had a wife and could not keep her, had another, did not love her, up the chimney he did shove her. Please turn over my head. Gruesomeness aside, what does that last lyric mean? I need answers. Apparently this version was used in a hopscotch game, which is kinda grim, but not the grimmest thing I've heard children spout. Now as for where the pumpkin part comes from, there are two schools of thought. One puts forth that this is just where Peter hid the body. Another postulates that the pumpkin shell is, drumroll please, a chastity belt. Thank you, Victorians. I think I prefer the former theory. I could probably do a deep dive sometime about the deeper meanings behind some nursery rhymes, because this isn't the first time I've heard a nursery rhyme get dark. Guess the darkness is fitting, especially given the season. Happy Halloween, guys. I've been Alien Daydreamer, and I am out. Bye!